The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max. Monday Night Raw review.
Hello and welcome to the Wrestling to the Max Monday Night Raw review. My name is Brandon Biskobing. I will be your host for tonight, and joining me, as per usual, at least lately, the co-hostess with the mostest, Liz Pugliese. How's it going, Liz?
Pretty good. How are you, Brandon?
Not too shabby. Raw starts off with a Memorial Day video package, since it's Memorial Day today, as WWE usually does for holidays that they're doing shows on. And starting off the main show, we get Roar! Braun Stroman coming out. He talks about how when he sees the briefcase, he gets motivated because he knows there's a contract inside that guarantees him a universal title shot anytime, anywhere, and he's going to destroy everyone else, climb the ladder, and take the briefcase, and not only be known as Mr. Money in the Bank, he'll be Mr. Monster in the Bank. Okay, then. Then he runs down everyone. He's like, no one can stop me. No one in the field can stop me. And then he's going to cash in and give Brock Lesnar these hands. Finn Balor comes out, says that Braun's getting a little ahead of himself because Finn was the first Universal Champion and never lost the title, and he wants to get his title back. He says he's going to climb that ladder and take back what's his, and they gave Braun everything he had last week. But at Money in the Bank, there will be 6 other guys in the ring with them, every man for himself. Braun admits that he put up a really good fight last week for a little guy, which was kind of funny. Him talking down to the smaller Balor. And Finn all smiles and then proceeds to slap him right across the face. Braun tosses him out of the ring. Braun's about to follow and pursue him, and we hear the infamous music of Kurt Angle. You suck. You suck. He says that they're showing one of his favorite, his 3 eyes intensity. Finn says he gave all he had last week, and that was great. And that he's going to make that match again. There's going to be a rematch between Finn and Braun, and it's going to happen right now. And a ref comes out, and we're heading for break. What do you think about this segment?
It wasn't it wasn't bad. I actually expected it to go the route of, all 4 guys being, in the ring at once and having your typical brawl.
Well, I think they're probably waiting for that. I mean, we still have, 2 or 3 weeks before Money in the Bank actually happens? Mm-hmm. So, I feel like they're making this whole Braun versus Finn, they're basically doing the round robin, right now, with everyone kind of facing everyone else in one-on-one matches because, as we'll talk about later, we got some matches set up for next week. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get that Fatal 4-Way, extravaganza the week before Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, I keep forgetting, honestly, how far off it is. I keep thinking it's every week I think, it's this weekend.
Well, because we're still so used to having a pay-per-view every other week.
Right.
It's odd having this long of a break now.
Yes, I'm struggling to get used to it. I guess after a couple, I will.
Yeah.
So I keep thinking, so it's all right, we're going to have this big wall to go into the show. But I'm wait, it's not this week.
Nope, it's not until, I think, the 17th, I think it said.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like in 3 weeks or something like that. So they still have plenty of time to do everything that they want to do, which basically means just everyone faces everyone else.
Yeah, right.
WWE 2K booking at its finest.
And they interrupt each other's matches.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I mean, I like this segment. I like how they're kind of pushing this whole, one of the main storylines going into the Money in the Bank ladder match, it seems, for the men right now, is this whole David versus Goliath type situation that they're doing with Braun and Finn, which I like. And I like how we'll talk about it more during this match, but I like how it's not just Braun just completely devouring Finn. Finn's actually getting the upper hand on Braun a good bit, which gives me a lot of hope for Balor moving forward beyond this, even if he doesn't win Money in the Bank.
So I thought the same thing, actually, that having him not just be thrown around, although he was.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so beat down, and even, having him really be the aggressor. I'm hoping that it means good things will come for him.
Yes. Oh, I definitely agree. So, coming back from a commercial, our opening contest, scheduled for one fall, is the aforementioned Braun Strowman versus Finn Balor. And this was another very good match, a very solid match with both of these guys. Like I talked about, the David versus Goliath type match with Braun using his strength to overpower Finn, but Finn trying to use his speed and athleticism and agility to run circles around Braun and put the big man down that way. And this was a great match. Well, first off, before we move to the finish, let's talk about how Kevin Owens decided to join commentary during this match, and we get prototypical hilarious Kevin Owens commentary. But not only do we get that, we get KO deciding to have a regular, mic flag mic, a crowd mic, at the commentary table, and during the match he proceeds to talk to the two competitors to try to interrupt them, or whatever the hell he was trying to do with that.
Yeah, his pep talk there was him mocking, Bobby, but that was just on commentary. Yeah, but his giving Finn a pep talk,
and then giving Braun a pep
talk. That was one of the best things.
Oh, it was probably. I mean, the match was great, but that was just as great as the match was seeing KO just trying to interrupt and give them pep talk and distracting them in the process.
Yeah, it was a great piece of, psychology. Like, well, I can interrupt. I can mess with them without getting in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one little moment, and I don't know. I'm so used to watching like New Japan, so like I'm used to the young lions like standing there like protecting themselves and protecting the fans for a move like this. But did you see the security guard get taken out by Finn when he went over the barricade?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was planned or what, but the security guy that was standing right at the barricade got taken the hell out.
I'm gonna have to go back and look. I missed that.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny, and it was like I was just thinking, like, did they plan that, or was he in the wrong place at the wrong time right there? Mm-hmm. But like I said, the finish sees Finn Balor actually get the upper hand, hit the sling blade, followed by the shotgun dropkick, followed by a coup de grace on Braun's back, which sets him up for a regular coup de grace, and then Finn decides one isn't enough, which it probably wouldn't be against a guy like Braun, so he decides to go up again. And sure enough, Kevin Owens decides to interject himself and push him off the top, resulting in Finn Balor technically winning by disqualification. So, which they actually confirmed, which is actually kind of a good thing for Finn as well. Like, most of the time when they do these, when they do these interference things, like, they don't actually mention that officially, like, the guy who got attacked won through disqualification.
Right.
Yet this time they actually went out of their way to mention it, which is a good sign for Balor, because I would assume that means that they're focusing on the fact that he actually was able to beat Braun, and probably would have beat him anyway if it wasn't for Owens' distraction, or interference, rather.
Right. They used to announce it, more regularly, but now they've gotten away from
You
that.
know WWE doesn't care. This is sports entertainment, and
I know.
and a very and let's diminish the sports aspect of it.
So true.
Yeah. So following the match, Owens gets a ladder out, beats up or attacks Finn first with it, and then goes into the ring to attack Stroman with it. But Stroman yanks it away from him. Owens, being Owens, suddenly is a scared little pussycat and runs away. And Braun decides to throw it about 15 feet towards him and almost hits him.
He has some good range.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what's more impressive in terms of his throwing ability. That, or when he threw the announce chair right into Roman's face.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
So yeah, like we talked about, this was a very good match. Balor was able to put in a lot of offense, and probably would have won if it wasn't for the KO interference. And the fact that they're mentioning that Balor won through DQ gives me a lot of hope that Balor is in fact gonna get a little something, and is definitely getting a bit of a push right now.
Well,
And it's kind of, you know what's kind of ironic about this? You know what it's 6 months you know what it's 6 months removed from now?
What?
When all those rumors about Vince not being as high on Balor, and him saying that Balor wasn't over came out.
Oh.
Yeah. So 6 months later, looks like Balor's starting to get that push again.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yes, let's. We get some hype about the Jinder versus Seth match. Some hype for the Gauntlet match later, and then Elias is playing guitar backstage. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And that sends us to break. We get KO. After the break, we get KO backstage looking for the valet, and trying to get his keys so he can leave quickly because Braun's on the march after him now. Which I'm disappointed that we didn't get Braun actually come in during this whole thing. It was kind of stupid how they played this.
Yeah, I think it was okay, but I think if they had Braun come in, they would have got such a huge pop.
Exactly.
They would have such a reaction.
Exactly, and maybe have Braun throw KO around a little bit, and then Kurt stop him and be like, "Hey, stop! He still has a match tonight."
Oh yeah, that would have been good.
But yes, Kurt Angle finds him and says, "Where are you going? You've got a match tonight. You got a match against Bobby Roode." So yeah, we have that to look forward to later. We get a Sasha handcam promo about how she's going to win Money in the Bank, and she's gonna win the Gauntlet match and then win Money in the Bank. Guts and skill she has, but she doesn't need luck because she's the boss. Yada yada yada. We get Elias in the ring trying to play us a song, and it never happens. They he keeps on doing this thing about lights and mics and all of this, and the crowd just keeps on going, and then they end up breaking off of this to go to break, and then coming back, they still have Elias in the ring not playing, and he's still telling them I need to play my song. You gotta be quiet. And then of course Seth interrupts him. What do you think of this whole thing? This went longer than I was expecting.
His segments do seem to be getting a little longer, or some of them are much longer than you would think they would need to be. But they all tend to generally work. I think people, enjoy Elias' stuff, and now that you pretty much know that somebody's going to come out and interrupt him.
Mm-hmm.
The question is just normally like, okay, who? And when.
You know what it reminds me a lot of? And these two have very, very different but similar gimmicks at the same time. It reminds me of Gulak with his PowerPoint presentations.
Oh, yeah. Good boy, Drew.
So we get Seth coming out, interrupting Elias. He looks at Elias, picks up his stool, and then throws it out of the ring. And then Elias is like, damn it, and then leaves. So the next match, scheduled for one fall, is the Intercontinental Championship match between Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins. And this match, I guess, kind of goes as you would expect with a Jinder Mahal match, I guess.
It wasn't horrible, but
the only saving grace really was Seth in the end. This wasn't really all that good of a match. It was mostly a lot of interferences. The ref throwing out Sunil Singh, and then he still comes back regardless. Mahal hitting Rollins with a chair, and then Rollins getting fed up with it and just saying screw it and just beating down Mahal with a chair.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything. It wasn't a technical masterpiece by any means, but fitting in with what they have going on, I think it worked well.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best spot in the whole match was when Seth buckle bombed both of them. Well, Sunil into Jinder in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
We get more attacks with the chair by Seth after the match, hitting both Singh and Mahal in the back with a chair. It was funny watching Seth trying to grab him as he's going towards the entrance. Seth then decides to celebrate on the announce table, and he gets whacked in the back with a guitar by Elias. So I guess that's gonna be the next Intercontinental title match. Probably is Seth versus Elias.
I do like the way they do it instead of going out and being like, okay, whoever wants to come out will wrestle. They give it some something juicy. They give it some backstory. I think Elias and Seth could have a good run together.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I do like when it comes to the open challenges gimmick, I get that it can get old at times, but if you do it correctly, it can be a fun thing because you can have that anticipation of who's it going to be and everything. I mean, obviously, you know, most of the time it's not going to be anyone special. But, I mean, probably the biggest moment, even though I don't like this person, probably the biggest moment in the Open Challenge history was when Del Rio came back.
Right. I wasn't complaining about it. I always thought it was a lot of fun because, like you said, you didn't know, who was going to answer.
Oh wait, not only that, I just thought of two other ones that were big, and one that was actually really big. KO and Sami when they debuted.
Oh yeah.
So, like, you can definitely do things with the Open Challenge to, like, debut someone or have someone return or whatnot. You know, like, what?
This should be great. That's how they can have Dean come back.
I was just about to say that exact thing. Was Seth Rollins does the whole Open Challenge and then you hear, that would be great.
That would be fabulous.
And then in prototypical like Dean, like, you know, Lunatic Fringe Dean, in prototypical Lunatic Fringe Dean personality, he gets on the mic and he's just like, I'm not out here to challenge you for the title. I just wanted to come out here to say I'm back. Hey, yeah, right. How's it going?
It'd be hysterical.
It would be. It would be great. It's like, no, I'm not here to challenge you. We're cool. I just came back to say hi and say that I'm back and healthy.
Either way, I would totally accept it.
It would be great. Or I mean, especially if you wanted to do, like, the feud that it seemed like they were going to start brewing for going into Mania with Dean out, you could have that be the way that Jason Jordan comes back.
That's true.
So, I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, there are so many opportunities that you can do with an Open Challenge. But, I mean, I'm perfectly...
coming back?
Yeah. That's what I've been seeing. I mean, I've been seeing all around, like, over the last couple of weeks saying that he's been backstage and everything. So, and that he's, like, either completely healed or he's very, very close to coming back. But I like you said, the Elias versus Seth match, I'm perfectly fine with it. I'd like it. I think it would be a good feud.
Yeah, I mean they're both entertaining.
Mm-hmm. They can make fun of how they look alike.
Oh my god, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. CrossFit Jesus and his twin brother.
And his doppelganger.
Yeah.
After that, we get a we get a photo montage of WWE guys hanging out with soldiers for Memorial Day. Seth is down by the announce table, getting checked out by medics with a neck brace around his neck. And he's gonna be stretchered out, but he says, "Nope, I'm good. I'm good. Let me get up and get my bearings together, and I'll walk out." It was cool hearing because fans knew it was his birthday, I guess, singing "Happy Birthday" to him.
I know. I was wondering if they would.
What?
I was wondering if they would.
I was hoping they would. Yeah. But so yeah, he goes out. It was kind of funny seeing Jamie Noble right there, considering their history.
I know. I always go to him. I was like, Jamie.
So yeah, he gets helped back, but he walked out on his own power. Nia Jax comes out for a match and What? Why?
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
What's wrong with Nia?
Nothing. I love Nia. I hated the segment, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay. No, I wasn't a huge fan of the segment either, but we'll talk about that in a second. But before she can even get halfway down the ramp, Rousey's music hits, and she comes out and decides to join commentary for this match.
Yay.
I I don't know if this is supposed to be her gimmick or if it's just the way she is, but like especially with how like she's supposed to be and like how they're trying to portray her and everything, I guess like I'm confused. But let me just say this. I mean, I understand it. I respect her for the fact that she's been a huge fan and everything for her whole life and everything, and I respect that she's actually, taking this seriously and everything. But the goofy smile every single time she's out there is getting old very quickly.
I said to no one, but I said it out loud because I was by myself. She has to stop smiling when she comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she's supposed to be like this good girl, good, but tough ass, what. And she's smiling and looks like she wants to giggle the whole time.
I think I think it's a combination of two things. And at least I'm speculating here. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's the fact that she's legitimately very happy to be where she is right now, and like she said, she's been a huge wrestling fan her whole life, and she's legitimately very happy and giddy to be doing what she wanted to do in the first place. But at the same time, I also think that WWE is kind of, I don't know if it's so much taking advantage of it or using it or what, but like it definitely plays into the fact that like they're still PG and they want their baby faces to be baby faces, to be very bland and all happy and all of that. So I think it kind of plays off of, I think both play off of each other. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, sorry, I had to shoo my dog away. No, they definitely do, but I don't know. I actually, like Nia. I follow her a lot on, social media. Rhonda, we said it after her first match. Yes, she was not as awful as I thought she was going to be. She obviously, is a fighter, like you said, and everything. But this whole thing was like, I don't know. There was something. I mean, Nia, and it's not just Rhonda. Nia needs work a bit in various, aspects. And I always sound funny saying that because it's not like I can get in the ring and do, what they do. But it just, it just felt flat. And Rhonda needs to, work on her facial expressions, with her emotions. Like she's either smiling or she's glaring.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's no in between.
There's no in between, and I get the mind game. I like the whole mind game, aspect of it, but it just felt badly acted. Maybe
it felt forced.
Yeah,
but I think that's part of the fact that and Nia's gotten a lot better with it. But they're both relatively new to the business. And so a lot of it, I mean, everyone is over-scripted to begin with. But with the ones that haven't been doing it for as long, they're even more over-scripted. So it just feels so manufactured.
Right.
But, yeah, so, we get Nia in the ring with a jobber, and she has her opponent demonstrate an armbar, and she does the whole, big guy or girl power bomb to get out of the armbar. Okay, yeah, that's what you're gonna do. We all knew that. We all know that's how that works for you guys. and then she does some more moves on the jobber, and shows Ronda basically what she's gonna do to her. And then she tells Ronda to come help her up. She goes down to the ring, and then Nia just says she's not intimidated by her, and then leaves the ring. So yeah, like you said, I mean, it was decent, but not the greatest segment in the world.
Yeah, it could have. I mean, everything can always be be worse than it is. Bless you. It's just that I don't know. It just felt off. It just felt like you said forced, and I don't know. I mean, like she challenged Ronda, and now she's kind of acting like Ronda's been in her face about it. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean. Also this whole feud went very quickly. Like we talked about it, when it was first announced, and I have a differing opinion than a lot of people, but I was perfectly fine with it being a friendly rivalry and just a pure competition to see who is better. But it's very quickly turned into, and also very stupidly, I might add, they did all of that work with, the whole, bullying and all of this and be a star, yada, 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 to make Nia a face. And now, less than 2 months later, she's back to being a heel.
Yeah, I don't know. That's part of my issue with it. It's like, I mean, we all go back and forth on moods. I might like you today, and then tomorrow you're going to be getting on my nerves. It happens. But it just in wrestling and sports entertainment usually works a little better if there's some backstory and reason,
for and a little
at least to me.
Mm-hmm. But like, not only that, like it just feels like, and I mean, it doesn't help that it's Rousey, and like the company is going to try to push her to the moon just to try to get the mainstream attention.
Right.
But it just feels like, and I'm glad that I was wrong about her match against Alexa at Backlash. But it just feels like they did all of that work and did all of that stuff with Nia heading into WrestleMania just to have that WrestleMania moment, and now it's meaningless. It seems like they do that a lot nowadays, and it's very stupid. Strowman with Nicholas, Zack Ryder's Intercontinental Championship win a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, held the whole mixed tag match between Miz and Maurice and Cena and Nikki a couple of years ago. They do these stupid matches or these stupid moments just to get a WrestleMania moment, and then completely either reverse it the next night or in the very short future, or completely forget about it.
And sometimes you don't know which one's the best.
Yeah. We get another hand cam promo for the women's gauntlet match with Dana Brooke doing a bunch of math, which was kind of funny. I've been liking statistician face Dana. She's been funny. This was much more coherent and a much better attempt at intelligence than Alexa Bliss's attempt last week.
No, I completely agree. That was That was awful.
It was. It really was. We get Matt Hardy coming out to make his entrance, and Bray Wyatt. And we go to break, and then after the break, we get a tag match scheduled for one fall.
Wonderful.
Between the Deleters of World and the Ascension. Oh my god. First off, the fact that we're actually getting a tag match, playa. And the second is that we're actually getting the Ascension on TV. Oh my god.
I know. And at first I was like, wait, they're still together?
Oh
For
yeah,
some reason. No, I know, no. In my head, I got them confused with somebody else or something I read. I'm like, oh, they're both still here. And then I remembered, oh no, wait, he was only off because his wife had a baby or something, and that was forever ago. I mean, I know they've been in all the skits with
Breezango.
Yeah, Breezango, and they were fabulous in that. But for some reason, I don't know why, I thought like one of them was out or something had happened to them. That was a nice, pleasant surprise. In my head, I dubbed this the match of the men with bad hair.
Yeah. It was a decent match. And the Ascension actually got a little bit of offense in. But then the Leaders of World win with the Kiss of Deletion on Victor. And that's that.
For the viewers at home, their constant attempt to explain, the broken, stuff really takes away from the match.
Well,
and for me anyway, I mean, Cole's constant mangling of it or misunderstanding of it and feuding with the
I feel
1-year-old or whatever.
I feel like this is Vince's subtle way of trying to destroy it.
I don't think so. I don't get that and usually I agree with you. I don't get that feeling at all. I think that they're so afraid that fans or the casual fans won't understand. I don't even think they really have to, for the most part, with just a regular match. But it's like they're constantly trying to explain who this one is and who that one is. I just think it's overkill.
I'll agree with you to an extent, but the reason why I say that is because they're not really trying to explain it in a good way. They're basically making Cole make fun of it and make it sound stupid and ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point.
If they actually did vignettes with at the Hardy compound, and they actually did things to actually fully explain it, then that would work much better. But of course, that would require way too much effort for WWE's standards.
No, you're right again.
Backstage, we get the B team laughing. First off, let me just say, Tori said earlier when we were looking, when the B team was on, she was like, those shirts are just them using a Sharpie and drawing it in. I could make those shirts. Sell bootleg B team shirts and they'd sell like crazy.
You totally should. Totally should, because it's a great reference for so many people and so many things in life, But the bits with Kurt, I have to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed them. His that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, and them completely ignoring him.
Yeah, because that's it's so classic in a way, but it was pulled off really well. I mean, I think Bo and Curtis have always had a natural comedic talent, and Bo comes off a little dippy, and this really plays to it. So it was very enjoyable, because you all have that character in a show, or even that friend who's so gung-ho that they misinterpret everything possibly telling them, and Kurt once again was dead on. He's no,
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Stop. And of course, these two are the ones to bring in the holiday specific segment.
Oh my god.
So
I said,
yeah,
of course, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, we're going to have a food fight or something. I didn't think it would be in the ring, though.
I didn't know what exactly they were gonna do with it.
I'm like, oh, they threw together a pretty good barbecue for like an hour.
Then coming back from commercial, we get another hand cam promo for the women's match with the Riot Squad talking about how they don't care about the odds. They fight as a pack, and either way, they're gonna get that final spot. One of them will get the final spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. The next contest scheduled for
One fall
is Bobby Roode versus Kevin Owens. And this was a decent match. Nothing, too crazy, but, both of them got some decent offense in, and, it was a solid middle of Raw match.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even say anything, more than that. There was some nice aggression on Bobby's, side. Showed a little fire, which was nice because, as I've said before, he's come off a little bland.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not. We know he's not, but he's working with what he was, dealt rather. And no, I mean he showed some, nice little. What's the word? Like I said, aggression.
Yeah.
A bit more of his darker side, which which was nice.
So Kevin Owens wins with a prawn hold. And then right after the match, roar! We get Braun Strowman coming out, trying to seek retribution on Kevin Owens for what happened earlier. Owens tries to escape, but then he gets pincered between both Braun and Bobby, and Braun proceeds to destroy him. Bobby's cheering him on from the second rope, sitting on the top rope, and Braun's like, what do you think you're doing? You're not excused from this beatdown I'm giving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you a running power slam too.
He's consistent.
Yes, he is. After that, we go to another break, and coming back, we get Sami Zayn coming in with a public apology for the debacle that happened last week. He says, last week didn't go like he hoped. Yeah, no, you know what. He went a little too far, and WWE management has been gracious enough to give him time to address it. And yada yada yada. Talks about how people were saying it was cringeworthy. Yeah, it was, Sammy. It was terrible. He says he got texts and emails asking what he was thinking. And he keeps on going. And he said he lied to us, and they weren't really Bobby Lashley's sisters. Yeah. We all figured that out about 5 seconds into it, Sammy. And they were actually men, and yeah. And then he says, however, no, everything he said was true, but all their stories were true, and it was his whole thing was rooted in reality, and Bobby's still a bad person, and and history will look back on this segment very favorably. No, it won't.
Mm-hmm.
No. And he says, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm doing the right thing. The bully and a liar. And I'm the one catching flack? No. You should all be feeling sorry for me. And you should be apologizing to me because I deserve better. And, yeah. Bobby comes out, talks about Memorial Day and everything because he was part of a military family and yada yada yada. He's glad to see Sammy. He's glad to see Sammy again, and his real sisters actually think he's quite entertaining. Says that stuff was fun last week, but it got old real fast. Yeah, it did. Yeah. And he says if we got any issues, we should settle it like real men in the ring at Money in the Bank. And he extends his hand for a handshake, and then Sammy hesitates at first, but then finally does shake his hand and says he's going to haluva kick the grin off of his stupid face. And Bobby doesn't let go and just squeezes Sammy's hand really tight and says, I'm sorry for everything I'm going to do to you at Money in the Bank. What do you think of this? Liz?
Sorry, I'm having some Wi-Fi issues. I keep going in and out. Repeat, where were we?
We are on the Bobby and Sammy thing. What did you think of that whole segment?
Yeah, no.
I mean, it was better than last week.
It was better than last week. When he came out, I was like, when he came out, part of me was like, well, is he just going along with the storyline? And I mean, I didn't look last week, because when we talked about it last week, we just skipped over it, so I didn't really know what people were saying on social media.
I'm sure a lot of people were saying
a lot of that was, true, but I did enjoy where he was like, yeah, I'm not really sorry, it was all true, and whatever, but Lashley just, I keep using this word a lot. Like, Lashley just, I don't know, it just falls flat for me. A lot is in, I've said this before, a lot is in the, the delivering, the speaking of it. And, again, I said, I don't speak that well, but, for entertainment values. And it just, it falls flat. He's another one that's always, freaking smiling, and it makes me crazy. Maybe because I'm not a smiley, person. I don't know. Maybe deep down I'm evil. But it was okay. It was much better than, last week. And Bobby showed a little intensity at the end there. And poor Sammy was squealing. But, so that part was good. But it was all right. I mean, I think they could have found another way for them to feud than this nonsense.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
But I mean,
you probably think of 8 or 10 right now.
What?
You could probably think of 8 or 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I mean, this was better than either of the two previous segments that has led to this feud. And I feel like it's been a case of WWE kind of backtracking ever since the backlash from the interview. And last week it was just cringeworthy again too. And now they're just kind of trying to they're like, okay, enough. Have Sammy apologize, yada yada yada. Basically get rid of it while still keeping Sammy as the heel by saying that, saying that he wasn't in the wrong and whatnot. And now, try to make Bobby into more of the, badass, fighter that we all know from his Impact days.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a long time for him to recover from that interview.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with that. Especially for the fans. But here's the thing. And it would be very interesting to see what some of the more casual WWE fans are thinking about him.
Mhm.
Because, now, I don't... You pretty much only watch WWE, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm familiar with Lashley,
Yes. Oh, no, I'm not, I know this. I'm not saying in that sense, but, you didn't see how he was in Impact, and, you don't know the fact that, you know the fact that he was, but, you haven't seen, his stuff in Bellator or anything. So, you don't... What?
I've seen some of it, bits and pieces, so I know,
okay.
he was really intense, and I know people, were pretty crazy for him.
Yeah. But,
during that.
But that's the thing, for the more casual, WWE only fans, and especially for the women and children, it would be very interesting to see what their reception of Bobby is right now. Because they don't know the other side of Bobby, so this is all that they've seen. So I wonder how it's playing to them. Because it's falling flat to us, because we know that, he's a legit badass. He's an MMA fighter. He was, a badass in Impact. So that's what we expect from him. So when we don't see it, it falls flat as a result. So the fans who knew him in Impact, and for those who follow MMA and who watched his fights in Bellator, they're like, why are you going this route, WWE? Why aren't you making him basically what he was when he was first in the WWE, which was, I hate to say it this way, but the Black Brock Lesnar.
Right. Exactly.
So, that's what the older fans, the ones who are more in the know, expected, and that's why it's falling flat, I think, for the majority of the fan base. But it would be very interesting to see how some of the more casual and the younger fans who don't know his history, don't know about his MMA career, stuff like that, how it's playing off to them.
Well, I know in the term in with my niece, my best friend's daughter, she's becoming a really big wrestling fan, which makes us so proud. She's a really good judge of of different things. I mean, she was just 13, she's a 13-year-old girl. So you're going to think she likes Finn and she likes this one and that one, and of course she does. She's a 13-year-old girl, but she's actually a really good judge of why the hell are they doing this?
Okay.
And she has because Kim has told me, and she has been okay, this is horrible. I mean, she gets at 13, she gets that it's scripted, that it is, what it is. And she's like, do they know this doesn't make sense? Do they know that this sounds racist? So
Well, that's actually a very good point that you just brought up. I think that more than anything, I think the whole segment with him, the whole interview with him, it fell flat to the fans that know him from his past. But did she say anything about the interview segment? What did you think of that?
The sit down one that we continually pan, she thought it was weird. I mean, she's very into arts and arts and entertainment. She performs in a lot of different things, so she has a good mindset for that. And because Kim will always be like, this kid's cracking me up. And I remember her saying, she's like, I don't know, what is he supposed to, what is he supposed to be? Why do we care that his sister carried a towel around, So,
Okay.
if that's in any indication, then yes, the kids are like, what the hell?
That's a very good indication then that like even for the fans that I would assume that that interview would have been catering towards and trying to get that sympathetic that sympathetic baby face reaction for Lashley. It fell flat. and that's why they've been very semi-gradually but also very quickly backtracking from it and very much trying to basically push it away and remove it from history.
Yeah, I mean, had it been part of a larger interview, it would have been fine.
Yeah, but that's all they talked about, pretty much.
Yeah, but that's all they gave us. If it was something like one of those things Renee used to do on the network or whatever, if it was part of that, and we saw like bits and pieces of it, I think we would have had more context and whatnot, and it wouldn't have been so awful.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. We get another hand cam promo from Mickie James about she has her eyes on the prize. She knows exactly what to do to get there, and she's not a 6-time champion by accident. She knows how to seize every opportunity, and she'll be walking into Money in the Bank. Drew McIntyre comes out, and we get a singles match scheduled for one fall. Between Chad Gable and Drew McIntyre. And this wasn't a terrible match, but nothing too crazy. Drew gets the win with the Claymore. And yeah. Do you have anything to say about this match?
It's Drew. I'm not going to complain.
No.
And it was a... Okay, wait, hold on. So it was and it wasn't what I expected. Or maybe as I was watching it, realized what I wanted. I mean, I'm not a huge, Chad Gable fan, but I do like him. So, but how do I want to say it?
What?
I mean, Drew was basically just twisting him around for the most part, like a rag doll, and I get it, and that's what it should have been. But seeing as how they continually are trying to do different things with Gable, I would have liked to seen him get just the tiniest bit more, offense in.
Well, I think
Drew completely trust.
I think, and this is just how it seems to me. It very much seems like they're trying to push Gable kind of like, pretty much like how they try to push all of their faces now for whatever contrived reason. I think it's the Daniel Bryan. It's the Daniel Bryan effect, where everyone needs to be like this super underdog.
Yeah, I'm over it.
I'm over. I mean, it works for Bryan because there was legitimate heat there back in 2013, 2014. But now, when they do it with literally everyone, it just falls flat.
Yeah, I don't think it needs. I mean, Gable was definitely starting to be the breakout of American Alpha. Much more personality than Jason.
Yeah.
And his segment with Kurt and Drew and Dolph, he had really like, what did I refer to him as, like Scrappy Doo,
Yeah.
So I would like to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like to see that as well. Next we get the B Team Barbecue. Wait, I'm awake. I'm awake.
Let me just say, in terms of all the ridiculous food-related segments they've had,
all of the ridiculous holiday-related segments.
I mean, Cole even said, he's like, oh, this usually happens around Thanksgiving, But which is
That
also
just
funny.
shows how often they do this.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a Rhino fan. It's like, how far has Rhino fallen? Rhino is
Oh God.
definitely becoming one of those that we say is, just there for the paycheck.
Oh, he definitely is. Oh, he absolutely
You
is.
know, it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, uh, it's crazy. One of the ECW originals, and now he's
yeah,
reduced
who,
to.
who who they legit say is, really, nice guy, and this is what, and I know I've said many times, like, hey, if they're there for a paycheck, whatever, more power to them. But this is like taking it to the
Yeah.
extreme, like the whole, like my friend, actually the girl I was just talking about, her mother,
Mm-hmm.
she has always been a long time Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas fan.
Mm.
So I don't want to say like she's your typical, Marky Mark or whatever. That's like, oh, they deserve better. But she does feel like, they're talented. Maybe they'd be better off, somewhere else or something like that.
Mm.
And I get a kick out of it. I've been getting a kick out of this whole B team thing, like I was saying
Mm-hmm.
earlier, because I think
Yeah.
they do it really well. And she hates it, like with such
Really.
absolute passion. I'm like, just enjoy it.
I mean, see, I like it because it's a lot better than all of the other weird gimmicks that they've had in the past. It's way better than, Social Outcast or
Mm,
Miz Taraj.
yeah, I mean, I actually liked Social, Outcasts
I mean,
too, but
Social Outcast was kind of funny back in the day.
yeah,
Uh, but,
but yeah, this stupid T-shirts, the whole 9 yards.
oh yeah.
It's
Yeah. But this segment, I was only half paying attention to this whole thing. So, like, if you paid any more attention than I did, the floor is yours.
no, I was just like, at one point I was just like, oh look, it's Fandango, and that was the extent of my paying attention to it.
Yeah,
That was
pretty
that was
much. I
pretty
mean,
much
this was basically, like I mentioned earlier, this was the holiday segment that they throw
it.
all of the jobbers into.
Yeah, I mean, even Heath, crying out loud, the man has been a dedicated employee for how long? You know,
I
give
I
him something
dis I,
different to
I
do.
despise Heat's gimmick, so like I'm perfectly fine with him not being much of a factor. But
No,
like,
I hate it. I hate his gimmick, but still.
but yes, I would love to see Rhino actually get a legit push at some point. But I know it'll never
Yeah.
happen because I mean, how old does he have to be now?
Oh, Rhino has to be in his.
Late 40s, I would think,
Yeah, I think he's probably older than I am.
because he's been in wrestling since like the mid 90s.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just weird what some of them will. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who am I to say, why somebody does something? But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just like, oh, this is what Drew and Dolph are complaining about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I've said it on groups. I've kind of liked how Drew, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but it's kind of
Mm,
funny how WWE is basically calling a lot of their wrestlers out through this gimmick of, hey, stop being complacent, stop being just there for a paycheck. I mean, because even bigger guys, even more recent guys that you would think would still have some sort of drive, like Rhino, like, while yes, I was a big Rhino fan back when he was in ECW and everything. Like him, I can understand a little bit, like where like, he's done everything he's wanted to do in wrestling, and he's there just to kind of finish off his career. That's one thing.
yeah.
But Samoa Joe has said it. Um, uh, Mike Bennett has said it. Gallows and Anderson have said it, basically saying, while not directly saying, yeah, we're pretty much just here for a paycheck. As long as we're getting paid, we don't care where we are on the card. And that's not a good way to handle things. I said it.
Right.
I said it on one of the groups earlier, in one of my groups on Facebook earlier, when we were talking about similar situations. Someone brought up the whole thing of whenever someone goes from New Japan or Ring of Honor or any of the indies to WWE, automatically everyone's like, "Oh God, what's going to happen to them?" And it's true because, and like I said, I certainly hope and pray that I am correct, that some of the guys that are still in New Japan, some of the bigger names like the Elite, if and when they ever do come to WWE, they still have that drive and still say, we want to be, we want to actually be successful outside of just making money. Back during the Monday Night Wars, it was basically the opposite. And this is why WWE ended up winning. Because the guys that stayed in WWE stayed because they wanted to do something, and they wanted to be successful in the ring, and they wanted to be successful on a wrestling level. Whereas a lot of guys did leave for WCW just to make a big paycheck, and their careers were destroyed because of it. Biggest example, Bret Hart.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, so, you make a fabulous point.
And look at any talent-based industry. You have two forms of people. You have those who want to be successful, and they want to, they want to be good at their craft. And then you have those who are just there for either the fame or the money. And who gets more respect? The ones who actually want to be successful and want to do what they do for the love of what they're doing. When you talk about sports players, look at how much heat, guys like Kevin Durant or LeBron James or, any player who leaves for a bigger contract, just for the money instead of trying to win rings.
Right.
So, I don't like that trend that WWE is going down.
Right, but like you kind of said, it's also on, the individual. I mean, I don't think the WWE is, and a lot of people get mad when that is said, but I don't think the company is at all encouraging people to just, be complacent. It's like any job. You have to go in there and be like, this is what I want.
Well, see, that's the thing.
I want to be the...
That's the thing about WWE, at least in the modern era, is that there seems to be conflicting reports. There have been some people who have come out, like Sasha came out a couple of months ago or something, saying, ever since I actually started talking directly to Vince, and kind of running down my ideas, he's given me a lot more respect, and it's helped me. But then there are others who have said the exact opposite, where, if you try to be too aggressive and you try to, make your mark too much, he'll bury you like that. So...
Well, again, it's also like with any job, really. There's a balancing act.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
If you come out to the boss and I know, everything. I know exactly how you should be running, your company. There's a way to approach everything. You have to approach it like, okay, hey, listen, you're the master and I am here to learn at your feet. But this is, and then you start presenting what you think and this, that, and the other. And some people, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Vince is a saint by, any
No.
means. I know, he's not. But I've always felt that and people don't want to hear it, that it's just like any other job. There's a time and a place and a way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people have to figure out and be willing to figure out.
Yeah. But that's the problem, is that I think a good portion of... And I think things are starting to change now with the success of the Indies and New Japan, and guys like Cody, who have said, who have basically tried to do that, tried to, put in their 2 cents, and it's failed, and then they've said, you know what, it's not working here, I'm going to go elsewhere, and been successful elsewhere. So hopefully that's making it so that it is easier for guys to go to Vince and say, this is what I want to do, let's try it,
Right.
But the fact that it is so corporate now too doesn't help it either.
I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's never not been corporate,
True.
Just because things were different in the locker room, and things were different back in the day, and it was this, that, or the other thing. When it gets down to it, it was always corporate, or at least especially since Vince took over from his father.
Yes,
it's always been corporate.
Yes, but I'm talking, even bigger than it was. Like that, because it basically is a monopoly now, they can just sit on their laurels. Or at least that's what they think.
I doubt, I don't have the same. Are they perfect? No, God, absolutely not. I don't have the same, they're so evil they don't know how to treat people, as a lot of, others do. So there's going to be some things that we'll agree, to disagree on. I definitely, maybe because I've worked so long in, human resources, and I have friends that are casting agents and friends that, run their own, businesses for that, type of thing. If you want it, you have to go after it, whatever whatever the company is, and you have to learn how to speak to those, in charge. So yeah, if you're a real jackass, or hey, maybe if the boss just doesn't just like you, yes, you are screwed. But no matter what the job is, and it's not just proving yourself in front of the camera every week, it's proving yourself, day to day, like, hey, yeah, I want to learn about this, or, blah, 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 being willing to work with others, putting yourself out there. There's a lot more into it than just, Vince hates him. You know what I mean? At least that's how I've always seen it.
Oh, yeah. But like I've said, I do think that some guys do sit on their laurels a little too much now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We get, after that debacle of a food fight, or whatever you want to call it, we get them talking about matches next week. Like I mentioned, the merry-go-round of matches between the 4 guys in the Money in the Bank match. Next week we'll get Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens, and Braun Strowman versus Bobby Roode.
Shocking.
Hey, you want to know what will happen the week after next?
Kevin versus Braun.
Yep. And Finn versus Bobby.
I had to think it out for a second.
And we're also going to get a Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey's best friend, Natalya match.
Oh, God. I mean, yay.
After that debacle of a barbecue, B-Team roll up in Kurt Angle's office and demand a tag title match. And he says, Kurt's like, really? You think they're really gonna want to give you a title match after that debacle that you just created? No, there's gonna be a tag team battle royal for the #1 contendership. And they thank him for the opportunity. And Axel gives him a big hug, and yeah, it's weird. They're a weird duo.
It was still really entertaining.
Oh yes.
I don't care what anybody says.
We get Bayley coming out to the ring for the main event. She gets interviewed about how the odds are against her. She says, regardless of the odds, she's never backed down from a fight, and she's not going to start now. She's bringing the fight to the Riot Squad. Brooke's numbers don't add up. That was kind of funny. She says she respects Mickie James, but will go through her if she must. And then she talks about Sasha. Sasha says her name's on that contract, but she needs to take a real close look because the name on the contract is actually Bayley, which was kind of funny, her saying that. So the following contest, scheduled for 6 falls.
6 falls. I wasn't expecting that. I should have known better.
Come on, get with the picture.
I know.
Sees Bayley versus Dana versus Liv Morgan versus Mickie James versus Ruby Riott versus Sarah Logan versus Sasha Banks in a gauntlet match. It starts off with Bayley versus Liv Morgan, and say it with me, Liz. Squash.
Oh, please, no. I think it was worse than a squash.
2 seconds.
Is it possible? Is it possible?
Seconds.
Yeah, right? Is it possible to be worse than a squash?
Right out of the gate. Boom.
I don't even have any words.
Sarah Logan comes out next. I was expecting a numbers game and Bayley to get pinned or eliminated here, but that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Logan gets a little bit more offense in, stays in there for a little bit longer, but Sarah Logan also gets eliminated, this time with a victory roll pin. Now, after Logan gets pinned, then they play the numbers game and they beat Bayley down. Ruby comes in and Ruby beats down Bayley, has her on a chin lock. They go back and forth a little bit, and then Bayley gets eliminated with the Riot Kick. Dana Brooke comes out, and they go back and forth for a little bit. Dana also gets eliminated with the Riot Kick. Mickie James comes out. That match actually went a little bit longer, but Ruby does eliminate Mickie with a schoolboy and a handful of tights. And then we have the final match between Sasha and Ruby, which I was kind of hoping that Ruby would win this because, we've seen Sasha for so long.
Yeah.
But this match was decent. We get the Riot Squad trying to interfere, but they don't get it. Ruby tries to roll her up with a schoolboy, but it fails, and Sasha gets the bank statement on Ruby and gets the submission victory. And that's that. What do you think of this?
Oh yeah, it was fabulous. I can't go on about enough. Yeah. No, I mean, what do you think I thought of it? I'm like,
yeah. Well, someone said on Cage Side earlier before Raw went on, they were like, remember the last time we had a gauntlet match on TV and how good that was. And this should have started the show, and this should have been much longer and much better. But, I mean, it is the women, and it's the fact that, a third or a quarter of the women aren't exactly all that well used or all that strong on the main roster. So
yeah, far. I mean, one of my issues is that they kept dragging the start of. To me, it felt like they kept dragging the start of it out. So I was like, all right, it's gonna be like 7 women, and it's gonna get like 4 minutes,
Pretty much.
So that was like, you knew it was gonna be ridiculous, and you knew who was gonna win.
I was honestly hoping that Ruby was potentially going to get a win. I kind of wish, I guess she kind of got it, but like, I kind of wish they would have done more with Bayley, where like she was like the Iron Woman of this match, kind of like a la Seth Rollins in the men's one, to kind of give her a bit of that momentum back, because she's been buried for the longest time recently.
No, I would have. I mean, even Bayley. Okay, like the whole Bayley thing's been done to death too now. Bayley is my number one person whom I think needs a character overhaul.
Well, it looked like we were going to get it for a little bit, and then they moved away from it.
Yeah, then they, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I assumed right off the bat that Sasha was gonna, get the win, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't anything shocking. I mean, they didn't give it time to do anything shocking.
No.
It was a multi-women, match that they all weren't in the ring at one time. It was far from anything special, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's pretty much, it wasn't anything special. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Riot maybe win it. That could have added a little bit of intrigue with the Riot Squad at ringside. You could have done a proper version of what they did last year with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
You'll have to refresh my memory, dear, because I don't remember.
Instead of completely undermining the women by having a man help her win the briefcase, actually have the Riot Squad help Ruby win the briefcase.
I had this thought. Yeah, that would make sense. But I had this thought. I'm like, oh, maybe Ruby will win, and Brandon and I will finally get like this team freebirding a belt.
Yes.
Lo and behold.
Hey, we could still get it. We could still get it with the New Day.
Who do you think is gonna? Okay, well, we discuss that tomorrow because it's SmackDown.
Yeah, let's save that for tomorrow.
Remind me that I have questions.
I have a feeling. We'll definitely talk about it. I'm sure they'll talk about it tomorrow, on TV anyway. But I have a feeling I know who will probably be their representative. But we'll see. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. So hey, cheap plug for tomorrow. Be sure to tune in tomorrow.
Yes. And Harry's back.
Yay! I don't have to host Harry's again.
I don't have to write these lovely blurbs again.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to again. Damn it!
Like Harry can write it.
He's lazy. He never does it.
Oh, darn! He is lazy.
Yeah.
He's been on vacation. He should be well rested.
Yes, he should be. Well, that's tomorrow. I think this show has pretty much run its course. Let's do a quick final rating and one-word review. First rating, what do you think?
Rating, I'm not going to be the cranky old lady this week. I will give it a 6.
I'll go a tiny bit higher just for the opening match and say 6.5.
That sounds about right.
The opening segment and the opening match was very, very good. And then the rest of it just kind of fell from there.
Yeah, it kind of petered out, for lack of a better term.
Well, now that I think about it, actually, I just thought of something. There's a reason why that happened tonight.
To bore us to tears? Why did it happen?
What else was going on tonight?
Said it was Memorial Day? I don't know.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Playoffs?
Oh, hockey.
And
Hockey,
basketball.
right.
It was Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals at 9 o'clock tonight.
Oh, I did not know that.
So they got all of their hot stuff out of the way early on, and then the rest of the show was just kind of just throwaway. Because they knew no one was going to be watching.
That could make a lot of sense.
Oh,
and plus, too,
what?
There's probably a lot of people who are still traveling home from their long weekends.
Well, that too. I mean, that played a factor as well, but I think, the reason why we got a good match at the beginning, but then not really much of anything afterwards was because of the playoffs. And I just realized something, and a lot of fans are probably not really thinking about it, but are probably happy once they realize this. There was a certain person not on the show whatsoever tonight.
He's on vacation with his family.
Oh, okay. Do you the big dog?
You didn't see. You don't go on Twitter much, right? You didn't see the whole hullabaloo on Twitter?
No, I did not.
Oh, so yeah, no. Roman was not on the show tonight. It was from what I read on Twitter. He's on his own vacation, and there was this whole big nonsense. And we've discussed things like this, I think, a couple of times, where somebody tweeted that he approached Roman, and Roman was a real
I think I did see something about that.
Yeah, and people were like, of course, jumping on. Some were defending him, whatever. But then he himself tweeted, he's like, it was a 30-year-old man who approached me. He was feeding his twin sons, trying to talk to his daughter, and he was like, he was not, whatever, like, didn't blow him off. It was like, it wasn't the time.
Yeah.
So he's on vacation.
Oh, okay.
Which probably makes many people very, very happy.
Yes.
And I'm sorry to inform you, it does not mean that he's been suspended. Or
no. Oh, no. I knew it wasn't anything like that. I thought they just gave him the night off or something.
Yeah, no, not. Well, technically, I guess they did.
Well, technically,
not It was probably his wife being. I had a 7-year-old and twin. However, they're born in November, so like November, December, January, March, April, about like 6, 7 months old. Yeah, you can stay home a day and take me on vacation.
Yeah. One word review on this?
I kept trying to listen to the coach's one word. Does he always do that? I just never realized
he did it. I think he did it last week, if I remember correctly. But I think last week was the first week he's ever done it.
I'm like, is Coach listening to us? Is Coach stealing it? Is Coach
is stealing our ideas?
Is Coach the one person in the world who listens to this podcast that's not affiliated with the show in any way? So
Coach, if you're out there, give us a shout out.
Yes, say something. Watch him like next week randomly reference somebody named Brandon. We're both gonna be like, oh my god. What was it? I was trying to like pay attention to his words, thinking if one of them would work, but right now I don't even remember what they are. So
well, I remember I remember one just because it was funny. It's not a good word to use for this whole entire show. But
what was it?
Glorious. When Bobby came out.
Yeah, no, we're not. I'm going to say for my one-word review, give me a second. It was. I can't think of a good one that describes it. I'm really stuck.
Do you want me to give you mine? Mine is Cliff.
cliff? Like you
Yes.
wanted to throw yourself off one when it was
No,
done? Or?
no. They went off a cliff
Oh
because
yeah. Oh, I was
because
gonna ask you. Yeah. Go
because
ahead.
like I was talking about, the opening was good, the first match was great, and then it just went whee. It was like Roadrunner and Coyote. He's running towards Roadrunner. He thinks he's gonna catch him, and then he goes off the cliff, and you just see him, sitting there, and his body drops. His head's still sitting there, like, and he holds up a help sign, and then whee.
That really does sum it up. I'm gonna go with messy.
Messy. Yeah,
You
that sounds
know.
about right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
that
gonna go with messy because
that can go
I
in
had a
two
word.
ways. That can go in two ways.
Can it? You think so?
Because not only was the show itself messy, a segment was also legitimately messy.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I was just earlier I had a nice word that I can't think of right now that, meant the same, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, it does. It works very well now, actually. Yeah,
Because
that's
the barbecue was very messy at the end.
before we sign off, and I know Sean's gonna be like, "Did they ever shut up?" I can't wait till Harry's back.
We're over an hour and a half already, so I
Who
don't
cares?
care.
It's just for us, but anyway,
Yep.
Seriously, if anybody out there listens, could you please let us
Please
know?
message us.
Yeah, let us know. Leave a comment on the YouTube. Find us on the web W2M Facebook page.
Or
Something.
on
Give us a
Twitter.
sign that yeah. Give us a sign that there's a life out there. I'm Lizzie P224 on Twitter. Brandon's is some slew of a whole bunch of letters. Um. So yeah, let us know. Just let us know. Oh wait, I know what I was gonna say before I got on that tangent. You know how they always want to give us something similar on SmackDown? I do hope that we don't get another food fight.
Well, see, I don't think we will because this is
I know the
special
fight's
because it's
over, but
Memorial Day.
yeah, but this is WWE, so you never know.
This time
No,
it's
no,
not my fault. If we get a food fight tomorrow, this is on you.
it's totally on me. I will accept my responsibility.
And just for that, I'm saying the main event's going to be some sort of cockamamie multi-man match.
Well, this one was too, so I can't even argue with you there.
Oh wait, no, I take that back. It can't be. I know what the main event for tomorrow, and that's
Oh,
already.
they announced it. They
Damn it!
announced it though, didn't they?
Yeah, it's
Daniel and
Daniel
Jeff,
versus
right?
Samoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Which actually should be pretty good, actually.
Yes. And considering the news that came out today, expect shenanigans.
Oh, come on. I've been really busy today, so now before we sign off, you have to tell me what the news was.
Cass has been cleared.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, yeah, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, so yeah, expect some Cassian shenanigans.
Yes, my niece roots for him just because they share a part of a name.
I made a joke about that one day, I remember.
Yeah.
I
You're
said, is
totally
she
right.
big Cass?
Yes, she is actually for her age. She's like she's just crazy.
Okay, before this goes on another big tangent, let's sign off. Yeah, if you guys want to tune in to hear more ramblings with 3 tomorrow instead of just 2, listen to Liz, myself, and the returning Harry Broadhurst tomorrow night for both SmackDown and 205, and then I will be back for NXT with probably Harry again on Thursday, and then yeah, that's this week in wrestling. So for Liz Pugliese, I'm Brandon Biskobing saying so long, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.